debate, we end up with two main sheets of paper that are left.
Okay. The assurance dissat outweighs the turns the case. At the top, they've made some arguments about how allies will not proliferate, but they've conceded the claim that if proliferation happens, it escalates. This is the largest, most sudden nuclear war scenario in this round. The security environment right now is unstable, unpredictable, and on the brink. Adding a new nuclear power into the mix would set off a devastating regional arms race where any accident, miscalculation, or false alarm will escalate to an all-out nuclear war, which is the 1NC Kleiner evidence. They've also conceded our impact calculus. We outweigh on time frame. It does not matter if the AF solves nuclear war or if China already has existing nuclear arsenals. Because the plan causes a short-term nuclear war, because Japan and South Korea can develop capabilities quickly, that short circuits all of their impacts. Time frame should frame your decision because you can only die once, and far-off threats do not matter if you are already dead. We are also crushing them on the turns case debate. They do not have an AF anymore. You should ask yourself whether Chinese aggression is more or less likely in a world where everybody has nuclear weapons and feels emboldened to defend themselves. They've conceded the Twining evidence that says that China will take advantage of this instability and create domestic pressure to rise aggressively, which means that the China-Taiwan war will be more likely. Their only argument is the China war is more likely because they are established nuclear power. But our argument is that new proliferators are way more destabilizing because they have a lack of experience and are more likely to use the weapons. The first argument was that the dissat does not turns case. Yes, it does turns the case. The Twining evidence is better than any evidence they have and says that rising powers will feel constrained if their regional environment becomes less stable. They say that proliferation does not cause war. Yes, it does. Even if proliferation doesn't explicitly cause war, it does increase the risk of accidents because any rogue officer can accidentally launch nuclear weapons. But independently, it causes China to become more aggressive because they feel like they are in danger. Now, they say that credibility theory is wrong. First, the framing issue through which you should evaluate all of these arguments is that this dissat is about the Allied perception, which means that even if it is irrational for Japan and South Korea to fear their security if U.S. arms sales to Taiwan decrease, it is all about what they think. First, our evidence is specific. Asian allies would have an incentive to proliferate because our evidence speaks to what allies would think in a world where we get rid of arms sales. Even if the macro theory is right, it doesn't disprove the story. They've conceded that Taiwan is the single most important commitment to U.S. credibility, which is the Easley evidence, and that abandoning Taiwan collapses U.S. credibility throughout all of Asia. Allies explicitly look to what the U.S. does with Taiwan to determine if they are willing to defend them. Next, they say that assurances are low now. However, they are high now. Because Taiwan assurances and relations are up now because of arms sales, which are massively increasing the status quo. It's a concrete symbol of our commitment that has been unwavering and stood the test of time, and allies have taken note of that signal. That's the one in our Cow evidence and the one in Sao evidence, which you should refer because it cites the Prime Minister of Taiwan, who agrees that those assurances are high. They say that China is aggressive now. That's obviously true, but getting rid of arms sales does not stop that. They also say that the military advantage is eroded now. That might be true in the context of islands in the SCS, but U.S. military presence in Japan and South Korea is not going anywhere. The link term. They say that, first of all, Taiwan is a tested resolve that is the trigger of overall U.S. commitment, which was above. They have no evidence that says that military exercises, what military exercises we would do, would assure allies. Again, remember that only we have evidence about perception. The one in our Cohen evidence says that arms sales have a key symbolic and practical value that determines the test of U.S. commitment. And the one in our Wander evidence says that Taiwan arms sales are the most visible signs of commitment. This means that joint exercises would not be the public display of support that is necessary. Finally, they say that there is no impact. Proliferation is likely. First, the one in our Adelson evidence says that security concerns for Japan outweigh and the domestic nuclear industry makes it cheap. Second, they say that Japan has never proliferated. They have restrained because of U.S. commitment. Third, we'll not go for the South Korea impact because we don't need it to win the debate. Japan is more likely anyway. Fourth, they say that no testing occurs. Because Japan has a domestic nuclear arsenal, that domestic nuclear industry, that means it would be quick for them to develop an arsenal. Now on to the China advantage. The 1AR has really messed up this advantage. The US and China have been fighting for years, and the 1AR explicitly made this advantage about relations. And since it's about relations, we will win that there are too many alternative causes to relations for them to ever solve. US and China have been fighting for years. There's no possible way that the AF is the silver bullet. Extend the one and see Lingwall evidence that says that surveillance, island fights in Asia, and US military presence in Japan and Korea all make a resolution of any disputes impossible. The 2NC Raymond evidence says that China's other claims and the relationship has more views, like the islands that they build in the South China Sea, and things like cyber espionage and human rights concerns. And The 2NC easily set evidence says that there are too many other points of tension, like China's endless military modernization, anti-access/area denial development, and the targeting of US bases. And finally, we will extend the easily 16 card from the deterrence dissat. Although we're not going for the deterrence dissat as offense, we will win that its theories of China's incentives are right. Easily says that China is offensive realist, which means that they want to achieve regional hegemony and security at all costs, and will lash out at any threats until the US is totally out of China's sphere of influence. And since the plan can't remove the US from the South China Sea and the military presence in Asia, they can never solve.